The massive fortress station called Iron Bastion floated in the hostile void near the galactic core. It was built from asteroids and salvaged warships, home to the most dangerous beings in the galaxy today. The war chamber thrummed with tension and barely controlled violence. High Warlord Krex stood at the center of the jagged metal room, his scarred exoskeleton gleaming under the red battle lights as he addressed representatives from 23 different Deathworld species. Some looked like walking tanks, others like living weapons, and some were creatures so dangerous they had to be kept in containment fields, just to attend meetings. Warriors of the Pact, Krex growled, his voice echoing off the blood-stained walls. We have a problem. For 500 years, we have ruled the most lethal worlds in the galaxy. We survive where others die. We thrive in conditions that would destroy entire civilizations. But now we face extinction. A Thraxi battlemaster named Gorvok slammed his armored fist against his war table. He looked like a 12-foot-tall insect covered in natural armor plating, with claws that could cut through starship hulls. What enemy dares challenge the Deathworld Pact? We have conquered poison worlds, acid oceans and planets where the very air burns flesh. Huntress Vex, a Karathi predator with 6 arms and compound eyes that never stopped scanning for threats, clicked her razor mandibles impatiently. No single species has ever survived contact with our hunting packs. Our worlds have killed billions of explorers. What makes you think anyone poses a threat to us? The chamber fell silent. Everyone remembered the founding of their alliance 300 years ago, when the galaxy's most lethal species had united not out of friendship, but out of necessity. Their homeworlds were so dangerous that normal galactic civilization avoided them completely. They were outcast killers, survivors who had earned their place through blood and death. There is more, Krex continued. 6 months ago, we received a message from a species we had never encountered. They call themselves humans. They asked to join the Deathworld Pact. On the main screen, a recording appeared showing a woman with brown hair and calm eyes. She wore a simple uniform, with no weapons or armor visible. Greetings to the Deathworld Pact. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Colonial Defense Force. We have observed your alliance with great interest and would like to request membership in your organization. We believe our species meets your requirements for Deathworld survival. The alien representatives leaned forward. Some laughed, with sounds like grinding metal. Others growled with anticipation of new prey. What makes this interesting, Krex said, is that these humans claim to come from a Class 12 death world, a planetary classification we thought was impossible to survive. The highest any of our species have conquered is Class 10 inches. Battlemaster Gorvak's antenna twitched with disbelief. Impossible. No species can survive a Class 12 environment. The radiation alone would kill any known life form. The atmospheric pressure would crush bones. The temperature variations would boil blood and freeze organs simultaneously. Huntress Vex raised one of her arms. I have studied the data transmissions from this Admiral Chen. Their planet called Earth shows readings that match a Class 12 classification. But their cities are not underground bunkers. They are built in the open air. Their people walk around without environmental suits, breathing poisonous atmosphere like it was nothing. You are all missing the important detail, Krex replied. Yesterday, Admiral Chen and her crew arrived at our forward outpost on Hellforge Station. They came to demonstrate their qualifications for membership. Commander Drac was there to witness what happened. New images appeared on the screen. Commander Drac was a Zenthari shock trooper whose species had evolved on a world where volcanic activity never stopped. His skin could withstand temperatures that would melt most metals. He stood beside 3 humans in what looked like a standard starship docking bay. This is Admiral Sarah Chen, Commander Jake Rodriguez, and Dr. Lisa Wong. They stepped off their ship onto Hellforge Station with no protective equipment. Commander Drac, our sensors showed the local environment at 340 degrees Celsius, with atmosphere containing 30% sulfur compounds and radiation levels that would kill most species in minutes. The room grew quiet. Everyone knew Hellforge Station had been built as the ultimate test for Deathworld warriors. The environment was so hostile that even Pact members needed protection to survive there for extended periods. Admiral Chen just walked around like she was touring a pleasant garden. Commander Drake asked her if she needed environmental gear. She smiled and said the conditions reminded her of a mild summer day on Earth. Battlemaster Gorvak's armor plates rattled with nervous energy. One station visit proves nothing. Perhaps their suits are more advanced than they appear, or they use medical enhancements to survive temporarily. That is what we thought, Krex said. So we sent them to undergo the Trial of Fangs, the standard test for all new Pact members. 3 separate Deathworld environments, each one designed to push warrior species to their absolute limits. Every current member barely survived their trials. Most lost warriors to the testing. The screen changed to show recordings from the trials. The first environment was an ice world where temperatures dropped to -200 degrees Celsius, and crystalline storms could shred armor. The second was a toxic jungle where every plant and animal produced lethal poisons. The third was a gravity well where the crushing force was 15 times galactic standard. Admiral Chen's team completed all 3 trials in record time. They treated the ice storm like a refreshing breeze they identified, and ate plants from the poison jungle that would kill a Thraxi warrior in seconds. They jogged through the gravity chamber while our best fighters crawled. Commander Drax's voice came through the recording as he watched the humans with growing amazement. They are not using any technology I can detect, no suits, no medical treatments, no genetic enhancements. They are surviving these conditions through natural adaptation alone. Huntress. Vex's compound eyes focused intently on the screen. Show us detailed bioscans of these humans. What do our instruments reveal about their physiology? Krex activated another display, showing medical readouts that made no sense to anyone in the room. Their bone density is 3 times standard galactic average. Their blood carries oxygen and toxin resistance beyond anything we have seen. Their nervous system processes pain differently. They experience what would be agony for us as mild discomfort. The readings showed humans whose bodies were like living weapons designed by evolution to survive in environments that would destroy civilizations. Their muscle fibers were denser than Zenthari shock troops, their reaction times faster than Karathi hunters, their healing factor more efficient than any known regenerative species. But that is not the strangest part, Krex continued. Yesterday, 3 more human ships arrived at Iron Bastion. They came to retrieve Admiral Chen's team and deliver their formal application for Pact membership. New recordings showed the human vessels approaching the fortress station. They were sleek but unremarkable looking, like civilian transports rather than military ships. Each one was about the size of a standard corvette, tiny compared to the massive warships that usually approached Pact territory. The lead ship was commanded by Captain Maria Santos, a human military officer. The second was under Dr. Robert Kim, a scientist. The third was led by Engineer Thomas Wright, a civilian contractor. Our sensors detected no significant weapons, no heavy armor, no threat potential whatsoever. Images appeared showing the 3 human commanders. Captain Santos was a woman with black hair and serious eyes. Her uniform was simple green fabric with basic insignia. Dr. Kim was a man with gray hair and kind features wearing a white lab coat. Engineer Wright looked like an ordinary maintenance worker in coveralls and tool belt. Captain Santos requested permission to dock with Iron Bastion for the formal membership ceremony. Our security protocols required full scanning of their vessels and crews. What we discovered changed everything. The tactical display showed detailed scans of the human ships. Their hulls were made from materials that registered as common metals and composites. Nothing exotic or threatening. Their engines were fusion-based technology centuries behind Pact standards. Their weapons were kinetic projectiles and basic energy beams. According to every instrument we have, these humans should not be able to survive 5 minutes in our environment. Their technology is primitive. Their weapons are toys. Their ships are barely space-worthy, yet something felt very wrong about the readings. Battlemaster Gorvak leaned forward, his massive frame casting shadows across the war table. What do you mean wrong? Our scanners are military-grade. They detect everything from hidden weapons to biological threats. That is exactly the problem, Krex replied. Our scanners detected the humans as completely harmless, but every warrior instinct we have screamed danger. When they came aboard Iron Bastion, our most experienced fighters reported feeling like prey animals being stalked by invisible predators. Dr. Vorth, a Kalian tech priest whose species had evolved on a world of living machines, activated her data interface with clicking mechanical sounds. I personally examined the human bioreadings. Their life signs showed normal heart rate, normal brain activity, normal body temperature, but our predator detection systems classified them as the most dangerous entities ever recorded on this station. The chamber erupted in confused discussions. Several species had never encountered readings that contradicted their technology, so completely others demanded immediate explanation for impossible scanner results. Dr. Kim asked to speak with our science council, Krex continued. He wanted to explain human physiology and why we might be experiencing conflicting data. I agreed to the meeting, hoping to understand what we were dealing with. The screen showed Dr. Kim standing in the science laboratory, surrounded by the Pact's most brilliant researchers. His calm demeanor seemed odd for someone addressing species that could kill him without effort. "Thank you for allowing me to address your concerns," Dr. Kim had said in the recording. "I understand our presence here creates some confusion about threat assessment. This is actually quite normal when species first encounter humans." A Thraxi scientist named Korthak had demanded explanation. His acid-filled speech sacks, hissing with irritation. "Your technology is primitive, your weapons are basic, your ships are fragile, yet our instruments register you as lethal. How do you explain this contradiction?" Dr. Kim had smiled gently. "The explanation is that your instruments are designed to detect technological threats and enhance biology. Humans represent a different category of danger. We are apex predators that evolved on a world where everything tried to kill us constantly. Apex predators exist on many worlds," another scientist had argued. "We have encountered thousands of species with predatory evolution. None of them register the way humans do." "True," Dr. Kim had replied, "but most apex predators evolved to dominate their environment. Humans evolved to survive in an environment that was actively trying to exterminate us every day for millions of years. The difference is between being the strongest creature in your world and being the only creature that refused to die no matter what the world threw at us." Engineer Wright had joined the conversation at that point, his casual appearance making the deadly implications of his words even more unsettling. "Earth is not just dangerous in one way like your homeworlds, it is dangerous in every way simultaneously. We have poisonous atmosphere, crushing gravity, deadly radiation, extreme temperatures, natural disasters, predatory wildlife, toxic plants, and environmental hazards that change constantly." Captain Santos had provided the final piece of explanation. "Human children play games that would be considered military training exercises on other worlds. Our normal daily activities include survival skills that Special Forces units study for years. What you call a death world, we call home." The recording ended, leaving the war chamber in stunned silence. Finally, Huntress Vex spoke, her voice unusually quiet. "Are you saying that every human is equivalent to an elite death world warrior without any training or enhancement?" "Not equivalent," Krex replied grimly. "Superior are trials that test the absolute limits of Pact members were rated as moderate difficulty by the human evaluation team. They suggested we increase the challenge level if we wanted to properly assess their capabilities." Battlemaster Gorvak's armor plates shifted nervously. How many humans did exist in their space? According to their data, 12 billion on Earth alone, approximately 30 billion across their colonial territories, all of them naturally adapted to survive conditions that would kill trained Pact warriors. The implications hit the assembled warriors like a physical blow. They had spent centuries believing they were the galaxy's ultimate survivors, the apex of lethal evolution. Suddenly, they were faced with evidence of an entire species that made their greatest achievements look like children's games. Commander Drax's voice came through the communicator from Hellforge Station. "High Warlord, there has been another development. The human delegation is requesting to address the war chamber directly. Admiral Chen says she has an important announcement about human intentions regarding Pact membership." "Send them through," Krex ordered, though his voice carried uncertainty for the first time in decades. Admiral Chen appeared on the main screen, her calm expression unchanged despite addressing beings that could tear apart starships with their bare hands. "Honored warriors of the Deathworld Pact, I bring greetings from humanity and gratitude for your consideration of our membership application. However," she continued, "after observing your trials and speaking with your scientists, We have realized that our joining the pact might not be beneficial for your organization. Confused murmurs filled the chamber. Several representatives demanded explanation for this unexpected turn. The issue is not that humans cannot meet your requirements, Admiral Chen explained. The issue is that we exceed them so significantly that our presence would fundamentally change the nature of your alliance. The Deathworld Pact was formed by species who survived impossible conditions and found strength in that shared experience. Captain Santos joined the transmission. Our arrival would make those impossible conditions seem routine. Our natural abilities would overshadow the achievements that define your warrior cultures. We would not be joining as equals, we would be joining as a completely different category of being. Dr. Kim appeared alongside them. Additionally, our preliminary surveys of packed worlds indicate that what you consider ultimate death world environments we would classify as pleasant vacation destinations. This creates a problem for any future cooperative ventures. The war chamber erupted in angry shouts. Several species took the human assessment as insults to their warrior heritage. Others demanded proof of human superiority through combat trials. You claim to be superior, Gorvak roared, but you refuse to prove it through battle. How do we know you are not simply using advanced technology to fake your abilities? Admiral Chen nodded respectfully. A fair challenge, Battle Master Gorvak. If the war chamber agrees, we will demonstrate human capabilities without any technological assistance. Would you prefer a strength test, endurance trial, or survival challenge? All three, Huntress Vex hissed. Let us see if humans can back up their claims when facing true death world conditions. Within hours, arrangements were made for the most extreme demonstration in Pact history. The testing would take place on Voidrip, an abandoned planet where failed experiments had created an environment so lethal that even atmospheric probes were destroyed within minutes. The human team consisted of Admiral Chen, Captain Santos, and Engineer Wright. They wore standard clothing with no protective equipment. Their only concession to the environment was carrying water bottles and basic tools. Voidrip's surface showed readings that terrified veteran Deathworld warriors. Atmospheric pressure at 30 times galactic standard temperature, fluctuations between boiling and freezing. Every few minutes, radiation levels that would cause cellular breakdown in minutes. Gravity fields that varied randomly from 0 to crushing weight. Beginning demonstration, Admiral Chen reported calmly as she stepped onto Voidrip's surface. Current local conditions show standard difficulty for human operations. The first test was strength. The humans were asked to move massive metal blocks that required heavy machinery for pack members to handle. Engineer Wright picked up a block weighing several tons and carried it like a piece of furniture. The second test was endurance. They were exposed to Voidrip's full environmental assault for 6 hours, while packed observers watched from shielded bunkers. The humans spent the time having casual conversations and sharing meals as if they were on a picnic. The third test was survival. They were left alone on Voidrip for 72 hours with no supplies. While the planet's conditions grew progressively worse when the Pact returned to retrieve them, they found the humans had built a comfortable shelter and were planning to stay longer. Demonstration complete, Admiral Chen reported. Voidrip conditions remained stable throughout the test period. Local environment posed no significant challenges to human operations. Back on Iron Bastion, the war chamber sat in stunned silence, watching the recordings of humans treating their ultimate death world like a mild training exercise. Finally, Krex found his voice. What do you want from us? Admiral Chen's image appeared on the screen one final time. We want to propose an alternative to Pact membership. Humans will serve as protectors and advisors to the Deathworld Pact. When you encounter threats too dangerous for current member species to handle, we will respond. When you need access to environments too lethal for your survival, we will go first. In exchange, we ask only for friendship and occasional consultation on matters requiring extreme survival expertise. We do not want to join your warrior culture, we want to support it. Dr. Kim added, humanity spent millions of years being forged by a world that tried to kill us every day. We learned that survival is not about being the strongest, it is about never giving up. We see that same spirit in the Deathworld Pact, and we respect it, Engineer Wright concluded. You asked what we want. The answer is simple. We want allies who understand that some battles are worth fighting, even when the odds are impossible, even when the cost is terrible, even when survival itself is victory. The vote that followed was unanimous. For the first time in Pact history, every member species agreed on a major decision. Humans would not join the Deathworld Pact. They would become its guardians. 6 months later, the first joint operation took place when a rogue planet threatened to collide with a Pact colony. World human volunteers diverted the planet by hand using techniques that violated several laws of physics. Pact warriors provided security and support, amazed to be working alongside beings who considered planetary engineering a routine task. The galaxy learned of humanity's new role slowly, carefully, as stories spread of Death World warriors being rescued by beings who treated lethal environments like casual strolls. Humans became legendary not as conquerors, but as the species that would go anywhere and do anything to help their allies survive. In the war chamber of Iron Bastion, High Warlord Krex often stood looking out at the stars, knowing that somewhere in the void humans continued their endless patrol, protecting species and worlds that couldn't protect themselves. They had not gained new members. They had gained something far more valuable. They had gained guardians who understood that true strength came not from surviving the impossible, but from ensuring others could survive it too. Because humans had learned the most important lesson of evolution, that the greatest predators were also the greatest protectors, and that ultimate survival meant making sure no one had to face the darkness alone.